So while we continue to wait on Nintendo to give us any kind of official word on what to expect or when to expect with the Breath of the Wild sequel, we now, as of today, have a new news update around Monolith, which is a supporting studio in the development of Breath of the Wild 2, and we have to talk about these new job listings and what they may mean when it comes to the release timeline of the Breath of the Wild sequel. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now today we're talking about Breath of the Wild 2, or the sequel to Breath of the Wild, depending on what you like to call it. Obviously we don't know the official title at this point in time, but the reason it's in the news today, and you may have seen some articles floating around online, is because one of the supporting studios, so not the lead developing studio, but Monolith is a supporting development studio that has helped on titles like Animal Crossing New Leaf. They've also done Xenoblade, and they've also done Splatoon 2 and various different Nintendo first party titles, and they function in the way of a supporting development studio. So while they're not really leading the charge behind it directly, they're hand in hand in assistance with making sure that the games get completed and fleshed out all the way to its completion. And the reason why we got to go over this article today is because there is apparently 6 new job listings that directly reference the Legend of Zelda series. And while it's not directly confirmed to be Breath of the Wild 2, it most likely is that title. However, it could be something like DLC ideas or something further down the line if, they are closer than what we think on the completion of Breath of the Wild 2, which I'm still predicting to be a 2021 title, but we do got to talk through this article and see what it may mean, because apparently Monolith is doing a huge expansion, and this Breath of the Wild section of potential staff is only 6 of basically 40 different jobs that they had launch live on their website. So first, let's hop through the article together so we can read through and be up to speed on all the exact details, and we'll cover the opinions on what I think this means for the release timeline of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild co-developer Monolith Soft is continuing to expand with a significant number of hires. In recent years, Nintendo-owned Monolith has contributed to the creation of not just Zelda Breath of the Wild, but also Splatoon 2 and Animal Crossing New Leaf. Monolith is also known for its Xenoblade RPG series. On Wednesday, the Japanese studio announced a large expansion of staff at its Kyoto studio alongside the publication of 6 new roles, including 3D and 2D graphic artists. In total, the company has nearly 40 job openings listed on its website. The majority of the listings don't specify an exact project, but 5 are listed for the Legend of Zelda series, presumably Breath of the Wild 2. Monolith has expanded significantly in recent years, with the Tokyo studio opening in 2019 to take the company's total locations to 4, with some 270 staff across each, an increase of 50 in the last year. Once its new hires are filled, the company could be comprised of well over 300 people. Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 was announced for Switch via a trailer shown during the Nintendo Direct E3 2019 broadcast. The video featured Link and Zelda together, although no further details were announced. Earlier this year, producer Eiji Inoma apologized to fans for the lack of updates on Breath of the Wild 2. Speaking during a Nintendo Direct presentation, which was also used to announce The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, Inuma said development of the Switch sequel was proceeding smoothly, and Nintendo planned to provide more details later this year. So with the timing of these job postings, there's not really a ton of concrete information around what this might mean, but we are obviously in the back half or towards the end now of April in 2021, and if Nintendo is still planning this as a holiday title, but they are still hiring on roles, it does beg the question of what kind of roles are those going to function as, because if they are coming into the closing phases of this game, we're probably not going to see a long hiring process for new positions, unless if it's something like the polishing portion of the game and really bug fixes and things like that. And while I don't know exactly what functions Monolith does support Nintendo with in these games, if it's more pivotal character design and cutscene design, which is stuff that you'd probably work on more in the core of the actual game development, or if it's stuff that is more like the polish and the touch-up phases, that remains to be seen. So we do need to take this information kind of lightly, in the sense that we don't know which way this is going to sway the direction of Breath of the Wild 2, because it could still very easily be a holiday 2021 title. Now Nintendo Nintendo is not going to rush out a Zelda game if it's not ready. We do know this, and even if there is something like I'm predicting, like the Switch Pro to launch at the end of this year, I do think that ultimately, if Nintendo needs the additional time with Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, they simply will not release it unfinished or with day one patches that have to be done. They are not a messy developer like that, and with a huge series like Zelda, and especially this particular title like a Breath of the Wild sequel, where the original is truly the all-time best-selling Zelda game ever, they are not going to screw this up. So even if a Switch Pro were to come out, or a Switch revision, whatever you would call it, at the end of 2021, Nintendo will not rush out Breath of the Wild 2. They will make sure it is done. Now, the other idea is that this could be something for either future Zelda DLC ideas, and they need people to support in that. So let's say, paint the picture that Breath of the Wild is closer to done than we realize and that they have shared, and we get that E3 show closer trailer and the announcement confirmed for holiday 2021. If we are in that scenario, these jobs are more likely to be something like quick polish and touch up and bug fixes, and or DLC for the Breath of the Wild sequel, because I would predict this game to absolutely get the same treatment as the first Breath of the Wild, with probably at least 2 to maybe even 3 DLC expansion packs before they move on to probably what the future of the next series will be. And probably, obviously, I don't think they're going to reuse the same Hyrule 3 times, so they will probably take it into an entirely new environment and a new engine all together from the ground up for the next mainline Zelda game. So obviously, still a bunch of time and speculation to come around when we will see Breath of the Wild 2 announcements. It's most likely going to be E3 of this year. There is some rumors floating around out there that people have been commenting on that I'm now aware of from Samus Hunter on Twitter that is predicting there to be some kind of Zelda event in May, and specifically towards the middle part of May, so roughly 1 month before the E3 actual presentation. I believe she does claim that it is not directly related to Breath of the Wild 2, so that's probably, if her rumors are true, would be the Zelda 35 Direct or something in that family as far as what they're going to do for the celebration of the 35th anniversary. But again, I'm still holding to my prediction of that actually being at the E3 showcase, and that's where we get the bulk of the Zelda news. But if we do get something sooner than that, that's obviously very welcome by me, and I hope the more information we get, the sooner the better, in my opinion. But at this point in the video, guys, I want to know your guys' thoughts specifically on Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, what you think these job hiring means, and then also when you actually believe that this game will become fully completed, and when Nintendo will actually give us that trailer and that exact release date, and whether or not you think it is a 2021 or 2022 title. And also, guys, don't forget to vote in today's community poll, as I will be asking you that exact question, because I love to see the percentages on where the audience falls on stuff like this, on when you're predicting personally Breath of the Wild 2 or the sequel to Breath of the Wild to be finished. So make sure you vote in today's community poll, and then also leave me a comment with your thoughts down below before you leave the video. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do, at this point in the video, want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below. Hit the like button on your way out on this video if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.